Isn't it the huge bonus, the huge buzz around their day out in Windsor? The news of the royal birth, baby Sussex, a little boy, born at 05:26 hours. Early in the morning this morning, weighing 7 pounds 3 ounces, and according to the beaming father, Prince Harry, both baby and mother doing really well. Prince Harry saying how incredibly proud he is of his wife and absolutely in awe of her. Well, with me now is Katie Nicholl, royal correspondent for Vanity Fair, and I think you predicted a boy at Vanity Fair, hadn't you?
I did. I'm wearing pink, so I got the jumper wrong. But no, I was told actually from some sources that were at the baby shower that she'd apparently said she was having a boy, but you know, the official line out of the palace at the time was that they hadn't chosen to find out. So listen, who knows? There have been so many secrets, so much kept private around this birth. Really, all that matters is they've got a healthy little boy. And as you can see from that interview with Prince Harry, he is clearly over the moon. I think any new parent recognises that look in his face of just utter disbelief and joy and pride, and you know, good for them.
And I think a little surprising that we saw him coming out to make the announcement, because they'd said, hadn't they, that once the baby was born, although they were thanking everyone for their good wishes and understanding the huge public interest in this, that they would celebrate privately as a family for a couple of days. So it's slightly surprising to see him coming out today.
Well, perhaps he was just carried on that wave of euphoria and all those endorphins, and he thought, you know what, I want to go and tell the people, and good for him. I think it's lovely. As you said, the crowds are gathering here. It's not like the Lindo wing. That wasn't the experience that they wanted. And yes, they have chosen to keep it private. This baby was born in the early hours of the morning, so they've had a whole day pretty much to just enjoy him and that time of bonding. So I think that was how they wanted it, and I think it was rather lovely that he came out and said a few words to the press, because as you said, we didn't think we were going to get that, so that was a nice surprise for us.
I don't think we've had official confirmation that it was a home birth at Frogmore Cottage, but all the suggestions seem to be that it was.
Well, again, I broke that story back in November in Vanity Fair, that she was hoping for a home birth. That was what I was being told. Of course, there were factors that perhaps might have made that difficult. We still don't know whether she did have her home birth in the end. There's every chance it might have been at Frimley Park. But hopefully these are details that we will find out. And on the Instagram page for @SussexRoyal, Harry has said we'll get more details over the next couple of days. And I'm sure that's something that will become apparent.
Yes, of course, Harry is due to be in the Netherlands on Thursday, isn't he, for the launch of the Invictus Games 2020. Yes. So we might expect that there will be a photo call of some sort, or images issued at the very least before that.
Well, we know that they are going to pose for a photo call. It'll be here in the grounds of Windsor, and you know, as long as mother and baby are doing well and Duchess Meghan is feeling fit, there's no reason why it perhaps might not be tomorrow. I think probably they'll want to do it and then just retire, bond, and of course Prince Harry going off on Thursday. Cancelled that trip to Amsterdam on Wednesday, but he will be there, we think, for the countdown to the Invictus Games for The Hague.
And of course, as a couple, as individuals as well, so used to being in the public eye, how do you think they're going to balance their desire for a private family life with the knowledge that, you know, the public are so interested in them and in this new arrival?
Well, I think it will, without a doubt, be the greatest challenge and for them, because they recognise their public roles. They've got this unique global platform. There are crews from around the world here. That is a reflection of the huge global interest in this couple. And yet we know that Prince Harry, a boy who grew up rarely out of the media spotlight, is desperate to give this child a sense of an ordinary background. Now, can you have an ordinary childhood and be a royal? I don't know. I think it's a juggle, but I think they will try and get that line right. And I think the Cambridges, we've seen them do that with their children. I don't think we're going to see a huge amount of this child, but I think on birthdays, on those milestone moments, they recognise that there is such an interest.
So they'll take advice from William and Catherine, no doubt, on this.
I don't know if they'll take advice from William and Catherine, but I think they're going to sort of follow in their footsteps, because it seems a sensible way. You manage expectations and what the public want with what you as a family feel comfortable with. They're not going to feel comfortable with paparazzi prying through bushes and trying to get pictures of this child playing in Frogmore Gardens. That's not going to be allowed. It won't happen. But will we get milestone moments, first birthdays, first days at school? I think that's pretty likely.
So beyond the images that we'll see, or the photo call in whatever form that happens in the next couple of days, it could be some time then until we see further images of this baby.
Possibly, but it might not be that long, because there are all sorts of rumours that they're planning to take this baby on their overseas sabbaticals. There's some speculation that there might be a tour as early as the autumn, so we might get to see a bit more of this baby than we thought, sooner than we thought. I think it's a case of watch this space. There seem to be a lot of open-ended plans at the palace at the moment. The future for the Sussexes and their baby is something that is being discussed, decided, but I think for the immediate future, right now, it's about bonding and being a new family of 3, and we wish them all the best.
How much do you think we'll see the American influence coming through, perhaps somewhere in the names of the child?
It's possible. I mean, I know the bookie's favourite is on Ivy. I think there's been rumours of Allegra. Of course, a lot of people speculate, well, that was obviously if it was going to be a girl. But in terms of a boy, I mean, I think we will see some of those traditional names. I don't think you're going to see something like Sky or Finn or any of those sort of perhaps more unusual names. Don't forget, at the end of the day, Prince Harry is quite a traditional man, and I think Meghan is very respectful of the institution that she's married in. That said, I do think in terms of her American heritage, you know, this will be a baby that celebrates Thanksgiving and Christmas, so I think you'll see it reflected there. But in names, I mean, who knows? I think the favourite is Bertie. Albert, I've heard, is a popular choice, and that's a family name, so we will see.
But we saw her American heritage, of course, being reflected in the wedding ceremony, so it's not perhaps too much of a supposition that that might be reflected in the baby's names as well, somewhere in the names.
I think absolutely. Listen, rightly so. She's very proud of being an American. She's going to want to make sure that her history and her heritage and her culture and her own upbringing are all reflected, not just in the naming of this baby, but how this baby is raised. And there's speculation that they might go for American nanny, maybe even for a Manny. I mean, I think what we do probably expect is that they're going to do things, you know, with a modern, progressive view to parenthood.
Prince Harry has been very open about his feelings and the loss of his mother. He's been very open about his search for someone special, about his desire to eventually become a father.
Yes.
As with any new parent, this is clearly a hugely emotional time for him.
Well, I think you could see that emotion in that footage. I mean, almost close to tears. You know, he was just choked with the emotion. And I think when he met Meghan, I think very quickly he realised that he'd met someone very special, someone who he thought he could spend the rest of his life with. They got married. They're only about to celebrate their first wedding anniversary in a few days' time, and here we are talking about the birth of their baby son. It's moved quickly, but clearly he has found that person, and I think this little boy is the final part of the jigsaw. Prince Harry becoming a father was something he had hoped for many years, and I think he's going to be a brilliant dad. Anyone that's watched him with children, and I've seen him on so many engagements, there is just a very genuine, authentic connection there with children. He's just brilliant with kids, and he's a bit of a kid himself.
Katie, thank you very much. Katie Nicholl, a royal correspondent for Vanity Fair magazine. Thank you. And yes, I was just thinking about that on the way to Windsor today, when we've seen Prince Harry, whether it's at home or abroad on charity engagements, he's really at ease with children. He does have a very easy rapport with them, and yes, I'm sure he'll make a wonderful father. It will be fascinating to see the first pictures of the 3 of them together as a family, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan, with their new baby. We're waiting on the name, of course. As he mentioned this morning when he appeared in front of the cameras, the baby was a few days overdue, so they've had plenty of time to work on a shortlist and think about names. And of course, here in Windsor, huge interest for people both who had been, you know, hanging around in the last few days, hoping that the news might emerge while they were here. People here just for the day on a bank holiday. Quite a bonus to hear this news for them. And of course, as America wakes up, there will be massive interest in this latest royal arrival. Back to you now in the studio.
You're so right. Anita McVeigh, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll speak to you again soon in Windsor.
Well, Anita and Katie there talking about Prince Harry's rapport with children.